My name's Deputy Inspector General of Police, Dr. Shehu, PSC. To talk about PRAWA, Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action, we have a very, very good rapport, good understanding, and good synergy between the police and PRAWA for many years. It is an institution that concerns primarily on respect of dignity and human rights, which the police are supposed to be part of it. And also capacity building to the police to enable them to perform effectively and efficiently in conjunction with the fundamental respect to the fundamental human rights as enshrined into the Nigerian constitutions of 1999. It's very, very beneficial, and at the same time in building capacity and enabling the police officers to perform credibly when they go out to discharge their duties. The police is an organization that deals with all kinds of human beings. When they come across a police officer, they deserve to be respected by police in ensuring not only their security and safety, but also in respecting their dignity and human rights. So in a nutshell, the training and retraining we are getting from the PRAWA is to enable us have police that will function and discharge their duties in a most standard and acceptable manner by members of the public. At this juncture, I want to say kudos. Welcome to the Nigeria Police Force online training.
Thank you for signing on this module, which is focusing on police crowd control operations, okay? And this, of course, as you know, is part of our course on selected guidelines to selected police interventions. Okay, so for this module, the lesson objective is really to promote greater understanding of the application of human rights in relation to police crowd control operations. Whereas our expected outcome is that you would be able to exhibit greater knowledge of these guidelines that relate to police crowd operations after this training. But as you always know, I will tell you, it's not just about you having greater knowledge of these issues, but your behavior, your actions must also reflect this knowledge, okay? Now, police crowd operations, in looking at it, there are a couple of things I would like us to discuss. For example, any loss of emotional control, any unprofessional conduct, any excessive use of force by you in terms of managing crowd can actually be counterproductive. It can even lead to further negative perception of the force by the general public. So it's important to prevent possible abuses of the institution. It is important to prevent possible abuses of human rights violation. It is important that officers' role in ensuring that these things are prevented must consider the following guidelines that we are going to be looking at. In other words, if you want people to respect the police force more, if you want people not to do things that will escalate a tense situation, how you act in terms of quelling or addressing or controlling crowd is important. So the following guidelines, one of the ones I want to mention here is the need to protect yourself. So you must use prescribed anti-riot protective gear and relevant equipment, because we want you alive. Just assuming this particular situation escalates. That's why you need to first think about protecting yourself. So that's the first thing. Now, second point I want to mention is that during the violent dispersal stage, the person you should be focusing on is really the person who is resisting, okay? So you only would, hit the resisting person, and you must do that in places where there will be minimal damage. So you already know what that is. You look at the legs, you look at the arm and all those kind of things. Please, because the issue is that we do not want any fatal attack. We don't want anybody getting killed. So avoid hitting the person's head, avoid hitting the person's face, neck, collar, and all the rest of that. So you just watch. You already know the sensitive parts of the body. So you must look at these places because you don't want anything that will cause loss of life or permanent damage. And again, use also non-lethal equipment. Remember, there is a graduation of force. That the force that you are using must also be proportionate. So do not ever forget this. So the other point I want to remind us here is that we must also use proper control and handcuff technique. Never drag protesters by their hair or their leg or their hand. No. Use 2-man or 4-man to carry techniques in terms of doing this. Okay? Whilst you are trying to control or transport anybody who is resisting, maybe a protester who is resisting. So do the necessary things. You know what those are. So you must make sure that while you are transporting the person and while you are controlling the person, that you have those support team as either in 2 persons or 4 persons support team. Then you must also ensure that in terms of the vehicle, your mobile patrol vehicle, you must also ensure that even these techniques are also applied even while inside the vehicle. You must also try to ensure that words of caution, to inform the arrested protesters of their rights and do the needful. If you need to make any necessary proclamation, do it, following laid down procedure. The other guideline I want to flag here is about the fact that the police officers must take extra care in conducting arrests or in the use of non-lethal weapons, since both minors and innocent citizens might be affected during this period. So even for the real protesters, our job is also not to kill anybody. So all police officers must promote and protect the rights of persons in this exercise. Don't forget that people have the right to freedom, the right to peaceful assembly. So again, your job is not to come and kill anyone in this place. Your job is to prevent further escalation of the crime. Your job is to ensure that demonstrators follow due procedures. Your job is to ensure that no crime is carried out during these exercises. So follow all that we have studied in this module. And I will give you a homework that you will reflect on even as you conclude this particular module. Ask yourself, all the times that you are quelling crowd, you are trying to control crowd, all the time that perhaps there is major issues relating to that, have your action as a police officer followed all that you have learned now? If the answer is no, please, going forward from here, ensure that your behavior, your action, your steps actually imbibe all that you have learned. And if the answer is yes, all I'm going to say to you, continue the good work and continue to encourage other colleagues to also follow these principles and these guidelines. Thank you very much.